WandaVision is the latest baby of MCU which spins superhero genre in the weirdest, most original, fascinating and unique way yet. Take that, superhero fatigue! The miniseries takes two of the most powerful yet completely before sidelined heroes in Marvel Cinematic Universe and decides to psychologically dissect them in depth. And so far, it has been a blast. Though maybe not for everyone with a sitcom pod, but most of us seem to have enjoyed it quite much, especially the last couple of episodes. With its weekly release, the series is leaving fans plenty of time to bash their heads in desperate attempt to decipher what the hell is going on in the show. There are so many cool and familiar things happening on screen, yet so many bizarre and unexplained events unraveling all at the same time. One of such mysteries so far unanswered, though heavily teased, has been who the hell is the main villain in WandaVision. That's right, notice that super discreet emphasis on the word main villain, as if there were several ones. Well, actually, yeah, I think so. Without further ado, let's delve in. So, what's the plot of WandaVision? Well, on the surface, it seems that Wanda has lost her mind grieving the loss of everyone she loved in her life. Her parents, her brother, her lover. Say, how come everyone is sad that Wanda lost her lover, but no one is mad that Stark family just lost its best butler? Anyway, Wanda goes full crazy and takes hostage an entire fucking town, puppeteering them to her own will. She creates this kind of real-life Truman Show-like TV show where everyone is happy all around and no negative emotions are ever allowed. All the meanwhile, S.W.O.R.D., a pathetic copy of S.H.I.E.L.D., has been Wait a second. S.W.O.R.D? S.H.I.E.L.D? Sword and Shield? Whoa. Anyway, S.W.O.R.D. has been alerted to the shenanigans Wanda has been doing as the witch stole her dead vibrator from S.W.O.R.D.'s premises. Being worried about the people Wanda kidnapped, the organization, with the likes of Jim Halpert and Monica Rambeau, close friend of Captain Marvel, decided to investigate just what the hell is going on in Westview. Okay, now you know the basics. Let's talk about the villain. So far in the show, this video is being released after the 6th episode aired, we have not been made known, at least not 100% on who the villain actually is. At first we thought it was not Wanda, but then after Monica was thrown out of Wanda's fantasy, she literally yelled, "It's all her! It's all Wanda!" But then why would they reveal it so soon? But then Agnes was temporarily snapped out of the illusion by Vision and said that indeed it was all Wanda and yada yada yada. Based on the comics and the clues that are peppered throughout the series, I think I have a solid theory as to who the real villains are. But first, let's go through the most popular main villain suggestions that circulate the web right now, and by a web of course I mean Reddit, and discuss why they are false, at least in my opinion. So, our number one false suspect is S.W.O.R.D. director Tyler Hayward. This one has been gaining more and more popularity with latest episodes, and understandably so. First, the guy suspiciously sends Monica to a simple missing case, which turns out to be the place where Vision is being held captive by Wanda, along with thousands of people. Let me remind you that Hayward knew that Wanda broke into S.W.O.R.D.'s facility to steal her dad's lover's remains. This was no coincidence. Not only that, but he apparently has some secret files and can trace everyone inside the Hex. What is up with that? Why isn't he sharing all that information with the rest? Well, I think it's most likely that he is not the main villain still, but he is a typical military anti-hero dumbass who thinks his actions are justified at any cost. I think he holds Vision as the last remaining vibranium weapon and thus a valuable asset, and he would do anything to get it back. Though that is not also very clear, as he had his chance in this particular scene to apprehend him, but he did not do so. There seems to be too many suspicious things happening around Hayward, I'll give you that. Alright, fine, I actually suspect him to play a very key role in all of this, but let me come back to him just a little bit later. Our number two false suspect is Agnes. Yes, Agnes is indeed no less suspicious than Hayward. Not only she was the only person S.W.O.R.D. could not find a dossier on or identify therein, but she appears to be the most self-aware NPC within Wanda's illusion. Who is her husband Ralph, who she keeps mentioning but we are yet to see his face? And also, what's up with this scene with Sparky? She clearly killed that fucking dog and was trying to see if Wanda would reanimate it? Well, I have a theory for that too, but it does not involve Wanda as the villain. I think Agnes is an innocent villager who could be someone related to Wanda. But she's not the villain, she's clearly terrified of Wanda and of everything that is happening in Westview. Just look at this exchange she had with Herb. If she was the villain, she would have threatened Herb to make sure he keeps his mouth shut. Instead, she begs him desperately to keep his act together. In all the scenes where she breaks the character, she appears to be a victim, and a victim I believe she is. But there is clearly something special to her, and the question what remains yet to be answered. Our number 3 false suspect is Wanda herself. If only we were not so forcefully spoon-fed the idea that this is all Wanda, I might have actually bought into that theory. Yes, she is in control of everyone in Westview. Yes, she came out of the Hex and outright confessed that she's keeping everyone hostage for her own sake. Don't get me wrong, I think full well that Wanda is being set up to be a big baddie in future movies, probably Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. In fact, I think that this show has gone far enough to not be able to redeem Wanda ever again. But there is no way she has so much potential and resources all on her own. I mean, think about it, when she was fighting Thanos in Endgame, she was at her peak of desperation and anger. She was at her absolute lowest and she was very close to defeating Thanos. Why would she become suddenly so much stronger now that everything relatively settled down? Nah, this is all a setup and there is something that is feeding her this power, this energy that surrounds the Hex and Wanda herself. And talk about the latest commercial in episode 6 with the shark saying to a stranded boy, "When I'm hungry, I eat your magic," which could not be more dumbed down to explain to the audience that there is something else that feeds on Wanda's magic. Well, this is probably slowly killing her or something like that. Who knows? But whatever it is bigger and more dangerous. Well, relatively. So this is where all of you go, well, no shit, of course it's Mephisto, like everyone knows that. To which I go, well, yes, but actually no. You see, to me Mephisto is kind of a false suspect number 4. On the one hand, he is clearly involved in all of this. Magic powers being used for evil, check. Red-colored Hex as well as pretty much everything else, check. A being that is able to mess with Wanda and amplify her powers even further, check. A villain that will be set up in WandaVision and that will become the main threat in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, fucking big ass check. That's right, I think Mephisto will be used in WandaVision just like Thanos was used in the first Avengers. He is the big boss, who is kind of just observing the situation for a time being but is not directly involved. Sure, he can give resources to someone to play with Wanda, but I do not think he is yet doing the dirty work himself. The question is then, who is this evil henchman? Who is this Thanos' Loki to Mephisto? Well, my bet would be that this is Mojo. At first you're like, who the fuck is Mojo? What, the monkey from Powerpuff Girls? The Mojo of Austin Powers? What? Okay, so without going too much into details, here is a recap of who Mojo is in the comics. Mojo is this disgusting looking blob alien who cannot physically walk and thus uses advanced tech to move around and comes from an alien race of enslavers. He is known to enslave people and put them in these fake reality TV shows so that he could feed on the energy of these shows and the people who are enslaved in them. In fact, he did manage to trap Scarlet Witch in one of such TV shows in the comics, though that didn't really end well for him. Mojo is an incredibly powerful being who's all about reality manipulation. Now, with all this information, tell me this doesn't fucking make the puzzle come together. Here's how the whole story is structured in my opinion. After the blip, Mephisto became extremely interested with everything that is happening on Earth. He learned how many powerful beings are currently roaming this tiny planet, including Doctor Strange, the most powerful wizard of all time, who is like the nemesis of Mephisto. While he's observing the planet and its inhabitants, he comes across this poor girl Wanda, who is wallowing in self-pity, probably on the verge of killing herself. She seems to possess an incredibly powerful source of energy and magic, straight from the Mind Stone. Seems attractive and easy enough, but he's not stupid. He's quite smart. Why don't he message his old pal Mojo to create this theater-like production where Wanda could be their test subject? Let's see how much power she can really unleash. So Mojo approaches Wanda and offers her a deal. I give you this simulated reality where you can have anything you want, everyone is happy, and you can even bring back your dead boyfriend, and instead I just simply use a little of your power to entertain my people, or something along those lines. Literally a devil's bargain, which would be quite fitting since Mephisto is essentially MCU's devil. So Wanda strikes this deal with Mojo or Mephisto and goes off the show. In the process, of course, they somehow semi-wipe her memory to make her enjoy the illusion to the fullest, and in return Mojo gets to entertain his enslaved world and Mephisto gets to see the true power of his probably future apprentice. But here comes the big but. Wouldn't all of this be way too risky? Surely such an undertaking would attract a lot of attention, including probably the Avengers. No, they knew they needed someone on the outside to control what is happening around Hex, in the real world. And this is where I think Tyler Hayward could come in. This is still not likely to me, but I can see how this works. So let's say that Hayward is the human form of Mojo. He kills the real Hayward and takes over his place in the organization. After they set up the Hex, he needs to find an inconspicuous way to set up surveillance over what is happening. He needs to be in control of the situation, but to make it seem completely normal. and to put himself in charge, of course. He also allows Wanda to break into the facility and steal Vision's remains, and then uses that to convince everyone that Wanda is the villain here. Pretty slick, right? But now you're asking, but why would Mojo and Mephisto risk this TV show in Westview to be disrupted by making everyone aware of its existence? Well, that's because they have a secret agenda. They need to tease and annoy Wanda to see how far she can go. Notice how Hayward easily gets away from when Wanda started expanding the Hex. Also, this would explain why Hayward was not so keen on apprehending Vision when he was literally lying there powerless in front of him. Oh, indeed, I think this is what's happening here. At least this is something I'm willing to bet on right now. And by the way, if we apply everything I just said to Pietro and Quicksilver, it also checks out. Pietro is clearly aware of what is happening with Wanda, and he keeps tormenting and annoying the living shit out of her too. Perhaps they are both incarnations of Mojo. And also, don't forget that the energy that Darcy traced around Hex was coming from outer fucking space, not from Earth. So this is not a threat that is coming from our planet, but is the one that is coming from the universe. So what happens next, you ask? Well, I think Mojo and Mephisto will keep teasing Wanda, and judging by promos, will bring the battle full on to the Hex, to make her explode with her new powers. All the while, Hayward's mission will be to keep Avengers at bay and to make sure nobody interferes. I think it's likely that Vision will die, since it's not the real Vision and he's only able to survive within Hex, which probably will not exist by the end of the show, and it will all be set up to look as if Wanda once again lost everything, but this time because of humans. This will prompt her to fully side with Mephisto, and thus will set up Doctor Strange's sequel. And that is that. So, what do you guys think? Do you think I'm a complete loser who has nothing better to do with his time? Do you think any of this could be true? Do you think there is a completely another villain at play here that I did not even mention? Please make sure to let me know, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's talk about this. Let's see what the next episodes will bring us. Maybe there will be something more for us to dig into. If you enjoyed this video, please consider to like and subscribe, as there will be more content like this coming very soon. As always, many thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.